Let's begin with the Mariners. A rough one on Sunday. The Mariners bullpen gives up 5 runs in the 8th inning. It was a tough weekend to watch the Mariners on Sunday, especially.
Especially Sunday. And it really just obviously came down to that bullpen. We'll dive right into that because for me, my biggest question was Dan Wilson was or I should say the whole front office, they were so heavy on this is the piggyback system, this is what we're going to be doing, and specifically this new piggyback of every starter is going to be a part of this at some point in this. Every 6th day, someone's going to be a part of it. So why change it up, right? Why? Because they changed it up yesterday, and it all collapsed.
And it all collapsed in that 8th inning. You wanted some high leverage arms in that game, and they were not in there. Manager Dan Wilson getting some heat for his bullpen management on Sunday after the game, who was asked about using guys like Gabe Spire for more than one inning, or also about going with Andres Munoz in the 8th inning. Here's what Dan had to say about his bullpen.
I think, our guys, they want the ball, and we'll give them the ball when we can and when they want it. And some guys are available for 1+s and some aren't. And we just go and make adjustments as we go. And, it just is that's where we're at right now. And these guys, when they take the ball, are outstanding. And, it's just a tough one to take today.
Is there any thought to go to Munoz there once the jam was already created, getting Mooney in there early?
Mooney's, he's more of our 9th inning guy, and, we want to get to him there, and we just weren't able to, like I said, weren't able to get the door closed on that 8th inning, and it's tough.
That right there is stubbornness, and stubbornness, allowing that is going to cause the downfall of this entire team. Why is Mooney only the 9th inning guy? I know that he's one of the best closers in the game, but that doesn't mean that he can't pitch 2 innings or he can't pitch a couple outs before he gets to the 9th inning. It's ridiculous that he's so stubborn and stuck to that. And with Gabe Spire, it's really the same thing. Why was he only able to go in there for 1 inning? Why Bizzardo only 1 out? I can't understand. I can't wrap my head around this stubbornness, Chris.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are asking those questions. Bizzardo only pitched 1 out, like you said. He could have came back. Could have Emerson Hancock with his pitch count finished up things a little bit there. So I think there's a lot of questions, and we're going to get more into the pitching here. And a lot of people want to talk about pitching in the piggyback, but I'm going to be honest with you. In the end, the Mariners need to score runs. Listen, they need to score runs in their last 14 games. 14 games, the Mariners have only scored 35 runs. 35 runs in 14 games. Do the math with me, everybody at home. That's just about 2.5 runs a game. That is not enough to be a contender. 2.5 runs a game, Ariel? Come on.
No, it's not enough at all. And obviously, you're seeing them struggle really heavily on this road trip. They left 14 runners in scoring position yesterday. I think their average with runners in scoring position is one of the worst in the entire league. I mean, they can't get any offense going. They rely on that home run ball, and even that's not showing up. I think they've only had 20-something in this month. They had 42 in May. In comparison, Chris.
Yeah, and it's you go to Pittsburgh, you don't even face their top pitcher in Skeens. So I mean, this for me is the big one right now is the offense and lack thereof it. Now, despite the rough road trip, Mariners still near the top of the American League West. I said it on this show about a month ago. If you're grading on a curve right now, everybody right there should be getting D's, but. The Rangers are getting an A. The Mariners are getting an A- when you go by standings. The M's only a half game out. Here's the problem. We watched this tough loss on Sunday. We've seen some other tough losses. This American League West is going to come down to the final week. And I'm just tired of seeing these bad losses like this. You could run away with this division. It's not good.
I think if you're the Mariners, your slogan is thank God for the Angels. Because they're
coming, right?
Not only are they coming, but they are six games behind in last place. So you're not going to fall to that. But really, anything above that, it's 1 half game, 1 game, 2 games. I mean, really, there's plenty of movement there. But we should not be celebrating mediocrity.
Sure. I agree.
There's not a
here I am celebrating.
You're celebrating. There's not a single team on that list that is above 500.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
I know. It tells me it's been a long season, and we're not even at the All-Star game yet. I will say this. You mentioned the piggyback. The Mariners decided not to do the piggyback. this weekend. Logan Gilbert pitched solid on Saturday, 7 innings, gave up 4 runs. Sadly, the offense didn't help his cause. It seems like a broken record player here. The Mariners 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They left 11 runners on base. Now, on Friday, Luis Castillo went 6 innings, only gave up 1 run. The Rock looked very solid. I know a lot of people want Castillo to be the one to go to the bullpen, but Castillo has pitched solid in 5 of his last 6 games. Here's Dan Wilson on what he saw from The Rock on Friday night.
The secondary usage tonight was awesome, and I think that's what we talk about, how the two of those play off of each other with the 4-seam and the 2-seam at the bottom of the zone, and then using the secondaries and off that fastball. But I think he had all of them going tonight, and good velo on the heater, which sets up the breaking ball and the off speed so much better. And he just, I think, had the command of both of those tonight. Was throwing it down in the zone. I thought was getting some really good swing and miss, and particularly against this team with, like you said, with all the lefties, that's what you really need. And he's got those weapons tonight. He really executed all of them.
All right, well, he did look good, but for me, the pitching decisions, this is just a distraction from the main problem, and that right now is hitting. But what is interesting is Luis Castillo is pitching good, and we're going to get into this. This Mariners team needs to trade for a hitter, and they need a hitter now, Ariel. And right now, you have Logan Gilbert, I would argue the ace of this team. Bryce Miller pitching right there with Logan Gilbert. Emerson Hancock, I thought he was solid this week as well. Kirby and Wu have been a roller coaster ride, and Luis Castillo has been pitching solid 5 of his last 6 games. So you have a wealth of pitching right now. You do not have a wealth of hitting.
And in those 6 games, he's actually lowered his ERA to under 3. So it's actually really impressive what he's been able to turn around. He kind of looks like the Luis Castillo of late, or of yesteryear. And what's really good is that he's kind of pitching them into a good problem right now, Chris, because if he continues to do well and the rest of the starters don't do well, well, there you go. You have one of your starters there. If he continues to do well and everyone else does well, then you have a really good trade piece there for Luis Castillo. So I think that honestly, him getting better and better is only a positive, obviously, for the Mariners, but it could really be a positive in 2 different directions.
And I think it's also a positive when you look at these 6 pitchers, and if the Mariners do find themselves getting somehow into the playoffs, you're only going to use 3 to 4 pitchers. So it's not like this piggyback situation is going to be a surprise for the pitchers that are going to be sent to the bullpen. So that could be a positive as well. The negative that we've talked about on this Monday on this show is hitting. The Mariners are near the bottom of the league in batting average, runs scored, and on-base percentage. They are near the top of the league in left on base and strikeouts. That's not good. You don't want to be there. Their stats against left-handed pitching is something hard to look at. Dusty Baker, our producer, here we go. He took a deep dive into this. Worst average on base, worst slugging, worst OPS versus left-handed pitching in all of baseball. If that doesn't just put a big bright neon sign on what needs to be fixed, I don't know what else will.
No, and you have to trade for that at the trade deadline. You need a right-handed hitter to go against the lefties, because that is exactly what they've needed this entire season. They tried to get Rob Refsnyder. That didn't work out for them. I know Cal Raleigh is hitting just as bad as he is against lefties right now. That's surprising. His fall-off has been shocking, to say the least. I mean, look at those numbers right there, Chris.
That's tough. I mean, we're coming off, what a lot of people would say was the MVP season from the Big Dumper last season. I know he's been battling injuries. Is he still battling an injury? I mean, we don't know. We know he wants to play. We saw some things in Tacoma and Everett, but it's just not happening right now in the Bigs.
No, and like I mentioned earlier, even worse might be their slash line with runners in scoring position. Seattle came into Sunday with a 198 average and a 340 slugging percentage with runners in scoring position. They're also not hitting the homers. Like I said, they live and die by them, and just 26 this month compared to 42 in May. Sunday alone, 2 for 14 with runners in scoring position, stranding 14 on base.
All right. Well, I think we made it very clear that this team needs to go out and they need to find a bat.